Hey guys, I got one of my favorite engines, the 440 Chrysler, that came in from Marketplace. And we're gonna tear it down.
Nick's Garage is supported by Atlas Equipment and K-Tool International.
Hi, I'm Nick, and welcome to my shop. Yes, I've got one of my favorite engines right here, the Dodge Chrysler Plymouth 440. Yeah, it's been around for quite a few years. Here I've got a 1975 casting. In 1975, they had no muscle cars in Chrysler, Dodge, or Plymouth. So this one probably came out of a Chrysler Newport, New Yorker, or whatever. And it was not a muscle car engine. And the 440s were known to be in high-performance cars like the 6-pack, the A12. Then they built them for drag racing. And you know, they were there for ultimate performance, ultimate muscle, cruising cars or whatever. But you know, they're hard to come by today. So what we got here is what my client, Pierre from Quebec, went and bought it from Marketplace. He bought a 440, bought it with the automatic transmission, which are all 727s, by the way. Told me, bring it here, take it apart, build it into a Magnum or Super Commando for a muscle car. So this is what we're here for. This is what we're gonna do. But you know, you gotta say that this is one great engine. They've built them for so many years, like I said earlier, and they're good motors. You know, some come with a forged crank, some come with a cast crank. But then again, when you get a very late model like this one here, if you look at the harmonic balancer, it is a cast crank. But they're still, the cast crank, they're good for 500 horsepower. And I'm just curious about one thing. You know, just before I put the chain block on it, I noticed that on the pad here, it's written HP. Why? I have no idea. This engine did not come from a muscle car, so I'm not sure. But usually when you have HP, and especially on 70, 71, 72, they're in a muscle car, and usually with 6-pack connector rods. So maybe I'm gonna remove the oil pan after, take a good look. But HP 1975, which you know when a casting is a 1975, it would be made for a 1976 car. But now, I really am concerned to see what is the piston deck height. I believe the short block was never tampered with, but sometime in its lifetime, the cylinder heads are being replaced. For what reason, I do not know, and they're also orange. So I'm gonna start taking it apart. We're gonna start removing one cylinder head, but first we're gonna start by removing the transmission, remove one cylinder head, measure the deck height, and then later on I'm gonna remove the oil pan and take a look at what connector rods is in there. Usually, like I said, it's an LY connector rod is most common on a 440. 6-pack rod, HP only from 70 to 72. But don't forget, we got a 75 block here. What do you think is in there? And one more thing. You know, every time I was tearing down an engine, there was always sometimes, in many cases, a Fram oil filter. And the people always make comments. They say, Nick, don't use a Fram filter. And then, you know, when you read the comments, they all say, Nick, that's the worst filter on the market. Is it? I don't know. I've used them in the past. Yes. Did I have any issues? Not really. So what I'm going to do later on is I'm going to remove that filter and cut it open and see what we've got. Because rumor has it that the paper element tears apart. So you know what? Let me take it apart later on and then we'll see what we have inside. All these big block 440s, late model, cruising cars, they all came with the Thermoquad, Carter Thermoquad carburetor. They're huge in CFMs. And you know what? It doesn't matter, we're not gonna go there. So the first thing we gotta do is I gotta remove the transmission so I can put the engine on a stand so I can start tearing it down. Okay, here we go. I don't know why it's written HP on the block. It's stamped right here in the front on the deck. But anyways, you know what? Like I said, if it's an HP, probably might have 6-pack connector rods in there. But we're gonna remove the pan later on and take it from there. All right, well, first of all, let's get rid of the transmission. Put the engine on the stand. There we go. Let's take out the first plate. You know, I used to pull apart full 40s back at my mom's house on the floor on wooden cradles. Nowadays, I get myself an engine stand, much easier. And you can turn it around 360 degrees. That's good to use power tools once in a while. You know, after a long day's work, it gets tiring, so you know what? Let's save some energy. After all, there's none left at the end of the day. You know, yeah, on my last video, people were saying I need a vacation. Oh, the time will come, don't worry. I wonder if the oil is still inside the engine. I wouldn't be surprised. You know, do they empty the oil out of the engine before they sell it? Or when they remove it out of the car? I do not know. But you know what? We're gonna find out right now. Okay, there we go. I can drop it. Well, in the meantime, let's see if there's any oil in the engine. I made a basket, cut it open, so I can just pull out of this and drain the oil. There it is. You know, usually I remove the engine oil when I take an engine out of the car. But in this case, it came from Marketplace or whatever. So let's find out. You know, I didn't even check the dipstick. But anyways, you know, with my luck, it's probably full. Oh, look at this. I see water coming out. Uh-oh. Oh, wow, what's this? Oh, this doesn't look good. Wow, what's that? Pink water. What is this? And in the meantime, where's the oil? There's no oil in there. You know, this is something you don't want to see. This is like, it's pinkish oil with water mixed in it, when it should be black motor oil coming out or gray motor oil. But this is not common. I don't know why. What's in it? Where was the engine from? I have no idea. Who knows? You know what? We are going to remove the oil pan. And then you know what? We're going to start by removing the spark plugs to see if the engine turns over. Spark plugs are loose. Somebody's taken them out before. Running rich, very rich, as usual. Wow, they're black. Well, it's got the correct spark plug in there. Okay. They're all pretty loose anyways. Yeah, they're kind of black. Wow, there's water coming out of this one. Okay, let's turn it over. Turn the crank. Let's turn the engine over. It's not seized, that's for sure. Wow, what happened there? Okay, we're gonna remove one cylinder head tonight, and it's gonna be this side. This is the one where we've seen water coming out of the spark plug hole. So we're gonna start by doing this side. So let's take off the intake manifold, valve cover, exhaust manifold, and then the cylinder head. Looks like puke. Looks like somebody puked. Anyways, let's tear it down. You know, sometimes when you buy an engine from an old car, don't forget, you guys, this is like 40 years plus of age, and don't expect it to be perfect. In some cases, yes, but this has been removed, been sitting around for a while, so we don't know the insides. Like, you know, there's not an engine you buy and then you just throw it in the car. He told me, take it apart, Nick, let's build it into a high-performance muscle car engine. You know, this came with an aluminum intake manifold, but not from the factory. You know, when you're looking for an early 70s block, or let's say a 68, 69, 70, 440 block, very, very rare today. So this is what you find, 74, 75, 76, 77, which I've got a few of them around, 440s, but you know what, they're all good blocks. They all can handle easily 500 horsepower, maybe not 600, but 500. I've built a few of them, and you know what? They do a great job holding together. If I ever owned a car in that era, no, I never have. What's this? Wow, what's this here? What's this? Oil pressure. Wow. Yeah. Probably, maybe not in an oil pressure gauge and extend it from the back, like so. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay. Doesn't belong on this engine. Okay. Let's remove the valve cover. How did the water get in there? I don't know. Maybe the engine was parked outside. I'm not so sure. But you know what? I've seen engines with worse conditions. That bolts were badly rusted. I've removed engines when there was a lot of water in the cylinder head. So far, this one looks pretty good. I've seen water behind the valve covers, rust stains, or let's just remove an exhaust manifold, see what we got in there. So you know what? You don't know what kind of surprises you're gonna have. Okay, factory rockers. I'm curious to see what number of the cylinder head castings. Okay, now let me remove the intake baffle gasket. You know, a lot of people buy engines from the marketplace or anything else, and complete 440, this is the first time. So let's see what we got in there. I hope it's a standard bore, which it should be, apparently. Corporate blue engine. That's what it was in 1975. Another thing I want to show you guys. Back in the day, all V8s that were equipped with block heater, usually two block heaters come on a big block V8, like so. One over here, and one on the other side. And it had one wire. It was a Y, two female plugs going into a one wire, bringing it up to the radiator support. Just like my 1971 Hemi Cuda came equipped from the factory with a dual block heater, which is factory, and I had one wire coming up to the rad support. Now, who's ever seen two block heaters on a 426 Hemi on a 1971 Hemi Cuda, matching number, all original, on the build sheet? I had one of them, and I know. My 71 Hemi Cuda was a Quebec car, sold brand new in Quebec, up in Canada, and then, you know, the option was available with block heaters. And for some reason, the guy who ordered the Hemi Cuda ordered it with block heaters. Thought maybe he wanted to drive it in the winter. I don't know. Anyways, it is what it is. All the push rods in place. Yeah, it's got some water here, right? But no real rust. Doesn't look too bad. Yeah, where did the water come from? I don't know. You know what, don't forget, he just bought it used, and who knows where this engine was stored. Was it outside? Was it in a barn? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Wow. You know, I don't think it was long when the cylinder heads were off. Look at this. This comes off so easy. Check this out. I don't know. That's strange. Wow, look at this. They're not even tight. It doesn't matter. We're going to build them from scratch. I don't know. Did someone change the heads before they sold it? I do not know. One way to find out. Let's take off the cylinder head and see what we got. You know, the 440 is a great engine. It's been around for many, many years. And you know, it was one of the most ultimate engines back in '69 and a half with the 446 barrel, 446 pack. For a street car, it was an ultimate engine. It was good power, good horsepower, and it's a great engine, very strong engine, had good torque numbers on it. It was one of the greatest engines in the muscle car era. And ever since then, I've always loved them. And you know what? They're not expensive to build, and they're, you know, when you look in the boneyard, you might find them here and there because they came with late model big Chrysler products. And again, it's a 440, they're the same thing. You buy the engine, you know, if you can't afford a 426, 440 is your next best bet. There we go. Now, you know, these models, if you guys looking at them, they're nothing special. They come out late model Chrysler. If you look at the date codes or the casting numbers, are mid-70s. So they're nothing special. Now, to me, they're not. There we go. Here is something unique you do not see on a 1970 440, is this late model exhaust manifold gasket that prevents the heat from the manifold going up to the valve cover. Here, let me show you. This is very unique right here. See this gasket? It's also a heat shield. It comes equipped with the 440s in the mid-70s and later, which is pretty cool. They didn't have this in the 70s, you know, early 70s. They did not have it. If you look it up in Felpro, they carry it. There we go. Look at that, that's pretty unique. You know, the heat doesn't burn the paint off the valve covers. And the same goes for the other side. So if you got a late 440, get a pair of these valve covers from Felpro. And of course, they're like a late model 1977, 78. Get them, put them on, and prevent your paint from burning off the valve covers. Okay, let's remove the rocker shaft. Okay, we got something very loose here. Look at that. Okay. Oh, wow. Why are these loose like that? That's not common. Even though an engine sat for a long time, this is not common. I know the lifters went dry, but they don't go collapsed. They're spring loaded. You got some oil in there. Look, this is pretty loose. It's like as if the push rods are too short. I've taken apart a lot of engines in the past that sat for many, many years. I have never seen this. But you know what, doesn't matter. We're gonna fix all that. Okay. Let's take off the rockers, the push rods, and then we're gonna remove the cylinder head. You know, we're gonna go through this piece by piece, like usually. You know, we're gonna look at everything. The cylinders are orange. For what reason, I do not know. I guess they were being removed before. But I'm curious to see, because of this HP stamped here on the upper part of the block, I'm just confused because I've never seen this on a late model 440, especially from a New Yorker, from a Newport. Don't forget, you guys, in the late 70s, they didn't have any muscle cars. So you know what? Let's see. One way to find out. Let's take it off. Let's see what we got. Now let's take off the cylinder head. You know, speaking of cylinder heads, let's see what casting number there is. Okay, it ends with 452, which is the original cylinder heads to this year. Period correct for 1975, 76, 77, because they were made for unleaded fuel, hardened exhaust seats. So these heads belong to this engine, and they're being orange. Why? Maybe they made a valve job at one time. They painted it orange like a Magnum 440, and then of course, for some reason, they threw them on the motor. Just to make sure it doesn't fall, I put 2 bolts loose until I crack it loose, like so. Wow, I don't know what came out of this, but this is not normal. There's more water than oil in there. Okay, here we go. Let's not make a mess on the floor. Get my K-tool breaker bar. There's no head gasket. There's no head gasket. I don't see one. I mean, really? Wow. What's going on here? I'm finding a lot of surprises. Wow. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. Okay, what do we got in here? It looks like it's been rebuilt at one time, but look, no head gasket. Looks like it had a valve job previously done. Okay, they got water stains on. But you know what? I'm gonna get my vernier just to take a fast look to see if it's oversized. Now, these original pistons, I'm not so sure. Yeah, standard bore, 4.320. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, these are factory pistons. And you know what? Somebody did a honing job. Here, let's turn it over, push out the water. Here we go. Watch that mess come out there now. Look, it's got transmission oil here. I guess you know what they did? They removed the spark plugs and they put oil in the cylinder so they don't rust while the engine was in storage. Wow. Now it's making sense. But what doesn't make sense is there's no gasket whatsoever. Look, it's all pitted. So from what I see, maybe someone took apart this engine and honed the cylinders. But if you guys take a good look, I want to show you some stains in the cylinder when an engine sits around for a long time. I'm just gonna remove the front pulley so I can turn the crank a lot easier. Just get this water pump out of the way and the pulley here. No pulley, just get them out of the way. You want to turn the crankshaft over. As you can see, this engine had air conditioning before. When you see your 4-groove pulley, you know this is being equipped with AC, air conditioning. There we go. And for you folks out there, how do you know if this engine comes with a cast crank? Usually late model, late 70s or mid 70s, 440s, they do come with a cast crank. So when you have a harmonic bouncer like this one here, with the offset counterweights, you know that this is a cast crankshaft, not a forged. Okay, let's see now. Let's turn it over. I think someone has rebuilt this engine before, and you can tell that the cylinders are being honed. Here, let's bring this down. I'll take a look. No matter what the mileage is on this engine, if you take a good look here, you can tell that someone's been inside the cylinder. You see the honing marks? They're not even a 60-degree crosshatch. So somebody honed the cylinders with a honing tool and did a pretty bad job. Then you got this one here that's stained with water stain. Take a look at this one. I believe these are factory pistons because I see that it's a standard bore 4.320, which is a standard bore for a 440. I guess they are cast aluminum pistons. They're not forged or whatever. Okay, they're not stamped 30 oversized either. So now let's get to the moment I was waiting for, the deck height on a 1975-76 440 Chrysler New Yorker Newport with an HP stamping. Let's take a look. Here we go. I'm curious, you know, this is factory. This is what I look for all the time. First of all, let's clean this. Let's bring the piston top dead center. We're just gonna take one piston. You know, it could be average, a few thou difference from one to another. Okay, watch this now. We're gonna go top dead center. Look at the dial indicator. When it changes directions, it's top dead center. There we go. So let's find the highest point. Right here. There, that's the highest point right there. Okay, so this is an HP. I doubt it very much. Anyways, doesn't matter. You know, I guess Chrysler made these engines. This is probably an 8.5 compression motor. Okay, let me get my gauge down to 0, like so. And now, here, just to show you guys the drop. Watch this. It's at 0. We're at 160. Let's go dead center. Lock the piston. And here we go. We got about 150 thou below the deck. Here we go. This is 0. Bring it there. And there you have it. Dead center. 150 thou below the deck. Yeah, it's probably an 8.5 compressor. That's what they were back in the day with the Newports or Chrysler New Yorkers. 8.5. And there you have it. They're the original pistons. And I guess that's the way they made them. I have no head gasket on it. If you look good on the other side, there is no head gasket either. If you take a good look, there's no head gasket whatsoever. That's strange. No, so this engine was tampered with before my client bought it. Anyways, it doesn't matter. We're gonna tear it down and we'll start from scratch. Let me take this out of the way too. You see this bolt is bent. I'm gonna throw this out. You know, when I got bolts that have no markings, I throw them out because I never use them. And if you guys take a good look, this is a bent bolt. Okay? Throw it out. Scrap metal. All right. If you guys just let me drop the oil pan, let's take a look inside. And after that, we're going to remove the Fram oil filter and take a look inside what it's got. Here we go. Coming off easy. No rust, but it's got oil and water in there. You can see it's a very late model oil pan. Okay, let's put it over here. Now, just curious to see if I could tilt the engine just a bit so I can take a look at the connector rods. Factory connector rods were LY markings. 6-pack with a thick beam. So I'm gonna just tilt it slightly a little bit over and see where we got. Wow. Okay, so this engine has been, like I said earlier, somebody took it apart, probably just honed the cylinders and put new piston rings. You can see the markings on that factory when you're marking with a marker like so. Well, it's not easy, it turns free. I'm just curious to see if it's a 6-pack connector rod, which I doubt it very much. And if you can look good here, you guys see when the crankshaft's marked 440 like so, you know that this is a cast crankshaft. Because forged cranks are not marked at all. And they don't look like nothing like this. Okay, now just see what kind of a connector rod is in there. No, it's a simple, basic 440 connector rod. It is not a 6-pack rod. So why is it stamped HP? I do not know. But it doesn't matter. It is what it is. And it is a factory stamping. Did someone stamp it? I doubt it very much. Let's take a look. No, those are factory stampings. It's written 440 HP. Why? I do not know. So this is a mystery. They put the cylinder heads back on without any head gaskets. I don't know. Maybe they wanted to put it together and call it a complete engine. Cylinder heads are orange. Maybe had a valve job, threw them on. Maybe someone was planning to do something with it, threw the heads on, put on an intake, and make it an easy delivery and an easy sale. But like I said earlier, we're going to tear it down and start from scratch. And then, according to a lot of my viewers, tell me that the Fram oil filter was never a good product. Now, I don't know that. They told me that the element always tears up in many, many cases. So my job is to remove it, cut it open in front of you guys, and see what it's like inside. Okay, so this one took a little beating. Maybe I shouldn't take this as an example. Let's take a look anyways. Okay, let's take it to the bench and cut it open. It's got some damage on it. I just want to see if the paper element is torn apart. Let me get my cutter. You know, I don't know, I've used Fram. A lot of people, I read my comments when every time I take apart an engine that comes with a Fram filter, they always have comments that they're not fond of it. But I don't know. Let's take it apart and see what we got. This tool was designed to cut open the oil filters after an engine break-in, so you can see what's going on inside the engine. The element is intact, isn't it? Let's take it apart. Let's see if I can take it apart. I don't want to rip it apart because, oh, there we go. Let's loosen it up. You know what? I'm tearing it apart as I go along. I just want to see. There. It's intact. That's intact. So look at this, I did that with my screwdriver. Oh, it's intact. Well, how long did it run for? I do not know. Anyways, it's really old. Can you determine, examining it this way, how many miles has gone on it? I have no idea. But the paper element is intact, so I can't say anything. Even though the oil filter has been banged around during the time when the engine was removed or when it was in storage or whatever. Anyways, for now, I don't see anything. I see no evidence of a weak element whatsoever. Next time I get another engine with a fan filter, I'll open it up again and take a better look. And for now, this is our results. So Pierre, if you're watching, this is your 440. It's not a bad engine. Looks pretty good. It looks like it could be rebuilt. Looks like a very good candidate that you got from Marketplace. So we're going to continue tearing it down and then building it to a high-performance 440. And thanks for watching here on Nick's Garage. All right, you guys, we're coming up to 250,000 subscribers. And don't forget to subscribe and like on my channel. And thanks for watching us here on Nick's Garage. And I love you guys. Thank you. And you guys, if you look down below the video, we have a whole bunch of merchandise that you guys can buy. So whatever you like, buy it, love it, wear it, and enjoy it. And help spread the word of Nick's Garage. And if you have some time, check out our Patreon page. We have extra content and you guys can watch it and take it from there. And we'll see you next time.